Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Unauthorized Teacher Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am here with a very special guest, somebody who I used to hang around with in high school. He's actually one of my mom's friends. His name is Drew. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey, yeah, my name is Drew, and I have loved watching you grow up. It seems like insanity. It made me really happy when you saw my son and felt old because that's how I feel whenever I see you. So I remember you running around being the elementary kid hanging out with the high schoolers when your mom's school and my school would hang out together.
I used to tag along with her UIL trips. I used to love that so much. I felt so old hanging out with the high school.
Absolutely. I think that's the gift of being like the theater director's child is that you get to go and be part of all of that ahead of time.
I just want to get kind of a picture of where you came from. What year did you graduate high school?
I graduated high school in 2003, so I'm not quite as old as your mom, but I
Thank
had
good.
been around for quite a while. Yes, yes. Yeah, so class of '03, one of those first ones in the 2000s when everyone was used to chanting their class name with 2 numbers, and all of a sudden we were like, "What do we do? We have 1 number. Do we say the O? Do we not say the O?" That's weird, so we survived, though.
Well, and then I remember getting into the 2010s, and do we call it 2010s? Do we call it 2010?
Yes.
I remember having that conversation.
Someone started saying "Autism" the other day, and I was like, "Oh, that's you. Okay, cool."
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And what type of school did you attend?
I grew up in a small school in a small rural town in East Texas. There was a 3A high school at the time. I think at the time there was only 1A through 5A. And so we were mid-sized, but it was definitely small town, and all those small communities around came into it. So it was definitely a Friday Night Lights kind of a place. So I was definitely always the odd man out when it came to being the thespian
Yeah.
in our small school.
Yeah. And was it a public school? Private?
Public school.
Perfect. Public school. What teacher inspired you the most?
Oh man. Okay. So I guess I can go with some of the obvious answers would be that my mom was a teacher and my aunt was a teacher. And so I always loved talking to them and watching them and seeing the way they influenced the lives of their students. That was always really cool. But I kind of tried to give this some thought. And I really feel like as much as I was not cut out to teach middle school is such a formative time in a person's life. And the 2 teachers that pop into my head immediately are Miss Patillo and Miss Arnold, and they both were in middle school. Miss Patillo was my American history teacher, and Miss Arnold was my English teacher, and they both this is probably a common theme that you see from teachers, but they were both people who saw me for me.
Yeah.
And I remember being the not athletic creative theater guy, was often kind of alone, and Miss Patillo would always have me come in. I could skip recess and go in her room and, like, help her decorate the walls for the next unit that she was gonna teach or,
Mm.
get papers, like, organized and stapled together and all that kinda good stuff, and just made me feel like I was important and that I was needed, and I know that there was probably she didn't need to change her bulletin boards out every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I did, but it just gave me a purpose, and Miss Arnold just always made me feel like she saw that I could see the beauty in literature and things that we were learning in class, and both of them were those teachers who you're like, "Well, they're a little wacky," like, they probably could have been theater teachers because they were both a little different, but, Miss Patillo was always funny doing different voices as she required us to write in ink pens that weren't blue or black, like, they had to be funky colors, and Miss Arnold, I remember and this is back a while ago, so you couldn't do this anymore. She used to play nerdball, and we would be in class, and she'd be like, "No one wants to answer? Okay." And she had a ceiling fan in her room, so she would take a bouncy ball and bounce it into the ceiling fan. Whoever it hit was the one that got the answer, and we always loved it. We thought it was the most fun pick ever, and she called it nerdball, like, "Who's gonna be the nerd?" And it just made learning fun, which
That's
was great, especially in a time when everything is so stressful in middle school. So
you.
the 2 of them definitely were big influences. And then, you get to the obvious, like, my theater teacher in high school who
Right.
also, like, took what they did as far as seeing me and appreciating me for who I am, and then gave me a home and a safe place to be and to exist and to just find success in and made me her right-hand man. So, Vanya Yudi, I love that woman with my whole heart. So, absolutely.
Beautiful. Going back to what you said about middle school, I saw a meme while I was teaching. It said elementary school teachers love the children. High school teachers love the subjects they teach. Middle school teachers love being crazy.
Absolutely.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, I taught for 2 years in the middle school.
Oh, I'm sorry
Eh,
for that.
oh, it was interesting. No, 4 years, 4 years at middle school. See, it was so crazy that I don't even remember how much. 4 years in the middle school, and one of my first weeks there, I was having trouble with a class that wasn't paying attention and wasn't doing what I was asking them to, and the football coach looked at me and said, "So, you just have to let them know that you're a little crazy."
Mhm.
I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Throw a stack of papers in the air or slam a door or make a weird noise." And another teacher's like, "Yeah, sometimes I talk to a ghost in my room that's not really there just to make it kind of a little bit weirder." And she's like, and it works. And I did that day. The kids were out of control. They weren't doing what I was supposed to. And I was like, "I'm done." And I just threw some papers in the air and I walked out and I sat in the hall and giggled and I walked back in and they were all silent.
Yep.
And then from that moment on, they were like, "Yes, sir. Whatever you need." Like, it was like, "Oh, okay. This guy's a little bit off. So let's pay attention to him now." Middle schoolers are unique individuals.
Mm,
I always said that it's the biggest journey from 6th grade to 8th grade
yeah.
because they come into the 6th graders and they're like still elementary school kids. They're
No.
still used to lots and lots of boundaries and rules, and they want to cross their fingers to tell you they need to go to the restroom, and they want to line up in a straight line to walk down the hallway. And they're really sweet and they're kind of scared. And so there's that sweet babyishness of the 6th graders. And then 8th graders on the other end are like becoming tiny humans. And so
Right.
they're starting to understand sarcasm and they like to joke around with you. And you can talk to them like an actual human being. So that part's always fun. 7th graders, I always tell everyone at the end of 6th grade, they take their brains out and put it on a shelf. And then it stays there till the end of 7th grade when they put it back in for the 8th grade. Just
Yes.
not that they're dumb, but that it's just nothing makes sense.
Yep.
You know, they get up and they yell at you and they're mad at you, and then you have to send them out of the room, and then you walk out there like, "I can't believe you sent me out of the room. You're so unfair." And you're like, "Wait, wait, 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 wait. You just yelled at me." They're like, "No, I didn't yell at you." I'm like, "Are we in the same bay? Like, what is happening here?" So people who can teach middle school are a special breed of people, and they have a special place in heaven for sure.
Yeah, I can attest to I taught 6th and 7th grade, and, my 6th graders came and they were the sweetest little babies in the world, and my 7th graders, I still love you guys. I know you're listening, but goodness gracious, y'all gave me some challenges those first few weeks, and then it was like they switched
Mhm.
towards the end of the year, and my 6th graders went crazy. Again, I still love you babies. I know y'all are listening. But, my 6th graders went crazy and my 7th graders, it's like they put their brain bags. And, what going back to the sarcasm, one thing my mentor teacher who really had to drill into me was, "Your 6th graders don't understand your sarcasm."
Right.
I once told a 6th grader during a state testing day, they asked me, "When are we gonna eat lunch?" I said, "Oh, honey, we're not eating till 6 p.m. tonight." They believed me. They believed me, and then they came in the second day for testing, and they said, "Miss, do we get to eat lunch today?" And I said, "Did you get to eat lunch yesterday?" And they're like, "Yeah, they let us eat." And I was like, "Then yes, we're gonna eat lunch today. I'm sorry I messed you up. I was just being funny."
That's so funny. Yes. Oh, man, yeah, middle schoolers, they're a breed, but
Yeah,
then I
they're
got back to high school and I'm like, "Oh, okay, now I can breathe. These are my people." And it's funny too because my wife has always been an elementary school educator, and so
mm,
she'll come home and she'll be like, "I don't know how you deal with high schoolers. They're, like, smart-mouthed, and they're sarcastic, and they question you, and they talk back," and I'm like, "I don't know how you do elementary school kids where they, like, sneeze and then hand you the snot or they ask you to tie their shoe 100 times," or no, I can't do that one. That doesn't work for me either.
so I wanna know, what is the biggest difference between when you went to school and schools now?
Oh, man. Well, okay, so I don't know if it was a unique experience, but my small town school I went to, it was very country. And so it was very yes ma'am, no ma'am, very if you were a man, you had to wear, you had to have your shirt tucked in and wear a belt. And we had to wear socks at all time. That was a big thing that they pushed on us. And I guess it was because of athletes' feet at some point in time. I don't know. But men had to wear socks all the time. The girls didn't have to. The guys had to have socks on all the time. Our hair had to be above our collars and above our earlobes and neatly kept. We had to be clean shaven. They would send you down after lunch if you had a 5 o'clock shadow and make you shave again because they
Wow.
want you clean shaven. So it's just kind of that environment. And then you add to that my mom was on the school board. And so me being the people pleaser that I am, mom being on the school board meant you cannot ever make a mistake
Right.
because it will look bad on mom. And my
I
sweet
felt the
brother,
same.
who I love, on the other hand, was like, mom's on the school board. I can get away with whatever I want to. It's like, it's probably the opposite. But so it, I think I don't know if it's difference in then and now or if it's a difference in where we're located, and it could be both too, is I just feel like there's a different you have to treat your students now as an equal. You are both on the same team working toward the goal of getting them an education.
Right.
And when I was growing up, it was that you do what you're told.
Right.
You're there to learn, you don't question anybody. You say yes ma'am, no ma'am. You accept whatever they say for fact and you move on. And that's not really where it is anymore. And in all honesty, I'm glad that we've changed
Yeah.
that. I like that my students can question the things that I say or want to know why I'm requesting things from them
Right.
or why we're working on what we're working on in class. So that would probably be the biggest difference is just it's no longer a you're gonna sit and learn and not ask questions. It's more of a we're gonna work together as a team to make sure that you receive an
I love
education.
that.
Yeah.
I love that so much, giving them more agency in
Yeah.
their
Yeah,
education.
absolutely.
I love that. And I don't know, believe we've talked about what do you teach?
Oh, I teach theater arts, the best thing in the world to teach. And no, it's not just fun and games all the time. I'm sure your mother would agree with me on when people are like, "Oh, you teach theater, so you just play all the time?" No, no, I do not. I'm a counselor all the time. It's wonderful. So I teach currently at the school that I work at. I am able to teach an advanced acting class, musical theater, some technical theater, and so it's pretty fun. I really love it.
I'm jealous of your musical theater class. My mom was telling me about that.
It's pretty fun.
Sounds like a ball.
Yes, and I wish I could tell you what we're doing in the spring next year, but it's so awesome and so cool that we're not allowed to announce it until March, which is killing me because
Ah,
it's insane. But yeah,
how long have you been teaching?
I've been teaching for 16 years. So I taught in West Texas for 7 or 8 years, and then I've been here in Fort Worth for 8 years now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, yeah, it's fantastic.
What made you want to become a teacher?
So I went to college originally to be a youth minister. I had decided that's what I wanted to do with my life for several reasons, mostly because I felt called to do it, but also because we had gotten a new preacher my junior year of high school, and his daughter was really cute, and she was going to Lubbock Christian University. And I was like, I want to go there with her because she's cute, and I want to try and date her. Spoiler alert: I never dated her. So I went to Lubbock Christian University and was a youth ministry major, and it was a really great experience. I spent a couple of summers interning, and I really enjoyed it. But there came a point where there was this part of me that was like, I'm only affecting people who someone else has already brought here,
Mm.
like, or people that are being influenced by the people that I'm working with, like my youth group, the kids that they're friends with. I'm talking to, but there's a whole bunch of people out there who don't have anyone loving on them to take care of them.
Yeah.
And so I just started thinking about it. I was like, I think that I want to go into the classroom because there's an opportunity to be a minister and a mentor to kids who may not have anybody else in their life mentoring them. And so I just kind of made that shift. So I went from being a youth ministry major to being a literature and English and literature education major, which I stayed in for about a semester until I started realizing what the grading process was for a English teacher and all the grading that happens. And I was like,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound fun to me. And then I was like, what have I always loved? Where have I always found my home in the theater? So
I couldn't picture you anywhere else.
I know it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So we switched my major again to theater arts and majored in that, and took me 5.5 year plan for graduating, but it was worth it. So yeah, so I just decided I wanted to be a teacher there, and theater was the place to do it, and I haven't regretted that at all.
That's beautiful. And I want to know, what is a time when you felt particularly successful as a teacher?
There's lots of things along the way where you feel like you experience success and that are very outward facing successes, very like public successes. So, for example, you know, recently with our UL One Night Play, we went to the regional level, which was fantastic. And I got to compete against your mom, which was awesome. That was a really cool success to like make it that far and to know that our show was like top 20 in the state and that kind of good stuff. The school I worked at in West Texas, I established an all fine arts musical and where all departments were working together, band, dance, theater, everybody, even the ag department would help us build sets. It was really cool. This whole all hands on deck production that I established and got going. And it's still going, even though I'm not there anymore. So that was a cool success to see that vision come to life. Moments like that are really cool. But I think what I would consider my biggest successes are those little moments with students whenever like the light clicks or something happens that you're like, oh, it happened. And, you know, I love coaching acting, and I love to some of my kids love it. Some of my kids are like, would you please just give me the answer, tell me what to do. But when they ask me, what should I do in this scene? I'm never just like, oh, you should do this. I'll be like, well, I don't know. What is your character feeling right now? And you're like, oh, well, I think this. I'm like, okay, what are they trying to make happen in this scene? Like, what is your objective? And they'll answer me, and I'll say, okay, so what's keeping them from getting that? Like, okay, then that's their obstacle. So now do it. And they're like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to walk across the stage? I'm like, I don't know. Would your character walk across the stage? And the moment whenever it clicks and it happens and they figure it out, it's so magical
Yeah.
every single time. So that's always a big success. Probably the moment that I will always say is my biggest success. I had a student who had decided they weren't cut out for college because they had kind of been told by important people in their lives that they weren't going to
Mm.
make it and do college. And I knew that was completely wrong. And through the relationship that we had built and getting to spend time with them in the theater department, I had encouraged them to keep going, keep trying, and to apply and to audition. And I was walking down the hall of the school one day and I got tackled by this kid who's just crying, and he says, Wiesner, I got in. Like, I got in and I got a scholarship and I'm going to college and I'm majoring in theater and like I get to go and do this, and it's because you told me I could do it. And like, I always hesitate to say that story because I don't want it to sound like I'm bragging, but that was the moment that I felt the most successful, was when there was someone whose view went from I can't to I can.
Yeah.
And they're dreaming, like, one of my big catchphrases is dream big. And so like to see that kid go from not believing in a dream to like putting it out there. And then even since then, working in New York and working in regional theaters and getting to have this awesome career, it just
Oh, that's
really cool.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
that's so amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. What is an example of what good leadership or good admin looks like for you?
I will say that I feel like I have been extremely blessed because I don't know that there's any admin that I've ever worked for that I would feel like were not good examples of good admin. So I wish I could just list off names and be like, look these people up, but I won't do that. But I will say making your teachers feel supported, but also holding them accountable.
Mm.
Um, oh, I don't know any of these names, so everybody can just assume it's them. My favorite admin I ever worked for was just a wizard at making you feel like they had complete and total faith in you, but also being able to have a tough conversation with you and you leaving feeling encouraged and not beat down. I guess examples of that, I once was in their office and a student and teacher came in where the student had been caught cheating.
Mm.
And so the principal went through all this stuff with the student about cheating and how that wasn't, appropriate. And these were the consequences for that action. And they finished, and the teacher's like, "Thank you." Until he's like, "Well, no, hang on just a second." And so they pulled the teacher, and she's like, "Hey, so your your test, the student was cheating on the test by googling the answers." And the admin was like, "While that's not okay, we also should be holding our students to a standard where we're quizzing them on their ability to process the information and use the information and not just recite it. So if your test has been designed in a way that they can Google the answers, you may need to work on reworking your tests because you're testing on rote memory and not on actual
Right.
understanding." And the teacher's like, "Oh, okay, cool," and left. And it was just really cool because it was like, oh, you told them, hey, your test sucked without saying your test sucked. And you
Right.
like helped them figure out, hey, here's where you should go with that instead.
Gave him a direction, didn't just say,
Yeah.
fix it.
Yes. Yeah. It was like, hey, here's where that goes. So I always feel like, and that kind of goes across the board, as a principal who will support you and then make whatever corrections need to be
Right.
one with you. So that's always been the biggest thing. But yeah, just being present, administrators being in the hallways and knowing the kids, for me, being at our shows.
Yeah.
I talked to our theater director for the whole district, and he's always like, "Oh, do you have people coming to your shows? Because most of our admin doesn't come to shows." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, like I have to list out all the admin that are at each of my shows because we'll have 3 performances and I'll have 2 or 3 admin at every single performance."
Wow.
And they're so incredibly supportive, and not just that makes me feel good as an educator to know that they're there and that they're seeing what we're doing, but also like watching them have those conversations with the kids and the
Yeah.
kids realizing, oh, this person is not just pushing paperwork or the person I have to go see if I'm in trouble. This person actually cares about me and what I'm
Right.
doing. And so being present is also a really big thing for admin. And like I say, I've been extremely lucky that I've worked for admin who've always been so incredibly supportive, and also I'm able to have conversations that are tough, but in the best of ways.
Yeah.
So that's what
Mm.
one of these days, if I decide to move towards being an admin, that is will always be my goal, is
Right.
to have hard conversations in a positive way.
Those conversations are going to have to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's about how you carry them
Absolutely.
that matters.
And as an educator, I want to have those
Yeah.
conversations. Like at UIL one night every year, it's like, oh, we did an advance and the judge said all the things they loved about our show. And I get that and I love that. But also I'm like, but I really wish you would have told me what it was that made you go, oh, it wasn't enough to move forward, so that I can work on that. Like, I
Right.
want that feedback so that I can continue to be better. And that's improved a lot over the years with our, we get a lot of that great feedback now. And I'm the same way with my admin. So like, I love when you come in and tell me these are things are going great in your classroom, but I also love it when you stop and go, hey, you were on stage with half of your class building this platform, and then like 10 kids were sitting out here just waiting on you. You're like, do you have another assignment you can
Mm.
give them to be working on at the same time? I'm like, you know what? I got so busy working on that. I didn't even think about that. Like, that's really great feedback. Thank you. I'll make sure I make
Right.
at the end of practice. So I love constructive feedback.
Good.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And if you could snap your fingers and change anything about education, what would it be?
Oh, that was tough because there's a lot of stuff with education. And I think that with each and every part of it, there are things you can view and see the negative parts of it, or you can see the positive parts of it. So everything is, it's all on a pendulum. Like it could be good or it could be bad depending on the day. Um, I think that there's a lot of assessment going on, a lot of testing going on. And I think that could be a good thing because that holds us accountable and make sure we're doing what we need to. But I also see the pendulum swing the other way. Like it's so much that I don't even know that it's a true measure of what our kids can do because they're so burnt out on testing that they've stopped trying. So it's like,
Yeah.
where's that happy medium? So if that could be fixed, I think that there is a lack of funding that causes some of the great things that it could do to not happen. And then while at the same time there's a lack of funding, there's also an overabundance of, I guess I would say, oversight or red tape of like, we can't give you the money to make this happen, but we need for you to make it happen anyway and want you to make it happen in these ways. And you can't do it that way. You need to do it this way. Well, we can't afford to do it that way. Well, you got to figure it out. It's just so much of like, we need that support of like, we can support you monetarily, but we can also understand that you may have a path that you want to take to make this process happen that might be different than what we were thinking. So let's see if it works or not, if that makes sense. So it just feels like sometimes there's both. We got to cut the funding so money's going away while also being like, we need you to achieve at a really high standard,
Yeah.
even though we can't give you the resources you need for that to happen. And so either fixing one of those two issues, like lower the expectation a little bit, which I'm not a fan of, or increase the funding so that we have the resources
Right.
that works as well.
Well, it's not lowering the expectations, but it's changing the hoops you got to jump
Absolutely. That
and making, because you can have high expectations and still support your teachers.
absolutely. Yes, that right there is 100%. Like just, yeah, like the way you phrase that, the hoops you have to jump through. Like it would be nice to jump through 3 hoops instead of 19,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
for sure.
We still need hoops to hold us accountable.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. I want to know, what is your funniest student story?
Oh, funniest student stories. As someone who loves comedy, I feel like all my memories of kids are always like the sweet moments. So I'm trying to think about funny stories. I guess the funniest moments always seem to be the moments that are the most real and the most human.
Yeah.
And something that, if you're not a theater person, it's kind of hard to understand is that, like, when you're in the middle of doing a show, when you're working on a piece of art, one of the things that has to happen is for you to let your inhibitions down completely. Like, you have to be completely vulnerable, let your inhibitions down, and live realistically in the moment that you're in. And because of that, there have been some really funny moments in my career where students have let their guard down, and so the things that they say are not things they would ever say in real life. And a couple of those, it'll be a curse word that slips after they've been like frustrated that makes me laugh so hard. And I'm trying not to laugh because I'm like, oh, I should not be laughing at that. But it is really funny because it's just so vulnerable. But one of my favorite stories, I had a student who was just like super scholar, very smart, very polite, came from a really great family, like always on top of their game, like yes ma'am, no ma'am, all the time. And we were in the middle of working in a show, and I I mentioned this earlier. My directing style, I said, it's kind of almost like a Montessori style. Like, I'm going to give you some resources and I want you to create, and then I'm going to coach you through that, as opposed to being like, hey, I want you to stand here and say this. And there's benefits to both styles of directing. I've seen great things come from both types of directors. And it's always interesting to see how kids respond. And so I had this student who was very much a tell me where to walk, tell me when to turn, like what word do you want me to say when I'm turning towards you? And do you want me to smile or do you want me to frown? And, how many steps to the right do you want me to take? And that's not my directing style at all. And so we came into a lot of, I won't even say conflict, but just frustration of like them wanting to get that direction and me wanting them to discover it on their own. And so we were in the middle of a rehearsal, and it was kind of one of those things like I mentioned earlier where they were like, do I need to move to that side of the couch or do I stay on this side of the couch? And I was like, well, what are you trying to achieve in this scene? They're like, what do you mean? Like, what is your goal in this scene? And they're like, oh, well, my goal in the end is to be a published writer. And I'm like, no, no, no. In this scene, what are you trying to do? They're like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, like this guy's talking to you and they want to like talk about being in love and you don't want that. So what are you trying to do? They're like, well, I'm trying to get away from them. Like, yes. So your goal is to get away from them. Yes. I was like, okay. So what's keeping you from getting away from them? This couch is in the way. I was like, okay. So do the scene now and play the fact that your obstacle is this couch and you can't get away from them because this couch is right there. And they're like, I don't understand what you mean. And I was like, well, if you're trying to get away from them, but there's couch, like they back you into the couch, or you like try to get around and they go around the other way, like play with that, make it happen. Like, but what do you want me to do? And I was like, I want you to play that the couch is an obstacle. Like, yeah, but how does that work? Like, do I go in front of it behind? I was like, I just want you to play the couch is in the way. And they just turned around and flipped me off. And I fell apart laughing because this student would have never done that. And in fact, like later on, they came to me and apologized. And like, I talked to my parents about it. And I've been like, I was like, what you talking to your parents about? Like, I'm not mad at you.
Yeah.
Like, but that was so inappropriate. I'm a student and you're a teacher. I was like, but in that moment, you had your guard down and you were
Right.
as character and you were like trying to figure it out. And I was frustrating you. Like, you were doing exactly what I wanted you to do as far as letting your guard be down and trying to live realistically in that moment. So that wasn't you, student whom I love, flipping me off. That was a person living a role in that moment.
Right.
But that, I mean, it's still a story that obviously makes me laugh because it's like, what just happened? And then trying not to laugh at the time was always hard. Don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh. But also, this is really, really funny.
Well, good for you for creating such a safe space.
We try to.
Yeah.
You really do. I also always love the moments when I get someone to confess to doing something, even though I didn't know it at all.
Yeah.
There, where I'll be like, "Hey, I saw that you just like kissed that girl on the back of the bus." They're like, "What? You saw that?" I'm like, "Nope, but you just admitted to it." Like punning me like that always make me giggle.
Oh my God. I had a student that always had to tell.
Yes, yes,
If they were doing something messed up, I could tell it right on their face. I didn't even have to say a word to them. So like, okay, I know you're up to no good.
oh, absolutely. You tell into that. So yes, no, always those are always the moments that are, I guess, just those little moments of like real humanity
Right.
are the moments that like you find the joy in.
Absolutely.
Because it's so different than being in a math class or English.
Yeah.
Because you are having to like let your guard down and be vulnerable on stage and let all of your insecurities go and just be there. And so it does
So
it's to
good.
be a safe place to be.
It's so good to have those moments in those days because, when you're sitting down all day writing equations and papers and all of this, you need to get up and move your body,
Absolutely.
you know?
You do. Be
And-
having keep going. And I always tell them to like we start our rehearsal process up, doing all of our paperwork, and I have a document that's like ways to keep Wiesner happy. And it's all of these little things like don't do this or do this. And one of them is like leave like whatever drama is going on in your life at the door. Like this should be a safe place for you. This should be a place where you can escape that. So if you are stressed out because your grade in class wasn't where it needed to be, like stand down at the door for a minute and feel the relief of not having to worry about your grade for a minute while we're working on this show. Or if you and your boyfriend are fighting, like leave that at the door and walk in and be a different character for a minute. Like Horton the elephant doesn't have a girlfriend, so it's fine. They can be as fun as they want. So, I'm always like, this is a place of like escape for a little
Yeah.
while in a world that we feels like we need an escape all the time these days. So,
Can you give us a few more of those ways to keep Wiesner happy?
oh my gosh. Okay. Don't come in late with food.
Oh,
Like, if you show up late to my rehearsal and you're carrying a Whataburger bag or a Sonic drink, I'm gonna be like, "No, no, you're late because you make that food." Like, that one drives me crazy a lot. One of them is remember that we are working very closely together, and whatever happens, everyone's gonna find out about it. So don't do anything dumb because people are gonna know.
that's so funny. Whenever we were state testing, I had a student make ways to keep. It was Miss Regan's rules or something.
Nice.
During their state testing, she made me a little sign. That's amazing. One of them was like, "Don't talk when Miss Regan's talking."
Yep.
One of them was, "Don't talk about fish," because I hate fish.
That's awesome.
And it's so funny. So
Do you hate fish like the animal or
Oh.
fish like eating it?
all of them.
I don't do
Can't
fish.
stand any of them.
I
I don't
always
get.
I introduce myself at the beginning of the year. I'm like, my name is Mr. Drew, and I think that tuna fish and mayonnaise and cats are the most evil thing in the world.
Can't agree with you on the cast
So
part.
yeah, it's always I'm like, on the eighth day after God rested on the seventh day, Satan split up when the earth. It was like tuna fish, a cat, and mayonnaise, and that was all the evil the world needed right there.
One of my other rules was don't say that Jack can fit on the door. Because
That's good.
for those of you who don't know, my listeners, there's a deleted scene where another man tries to get on the door and it nearly capsizes. And Jack says, he says something about you can't get on this door. This lady's on this door. He said, but if I don't get on, you'll die. And Jack says, if you try to get on, you'll die sooner.
Ooh.
You don't know that if you tell me that Jack's trying to get on the door.
That's good to know.
And I got in an argument with a student one day
Amazing.
about
Right.
Jack and the door.
I love those little things that you have that are like the hills you're gonna die on. It's like, why is this so important to me right now? Like, I don't understand why I have to write this.
That's what's so fun about school is you can die on the littlest
The
hill.
littlest hills. One of my favorite things I do. So when we choose our season for the year, all of our shows, my co-directors and I work and choose 6 out of the 7 shows that we do a year. And our one act play, I have a committee of kids. People apply to be on, at least like 10 kids to be on a committee. And then I give them scripts to read over the summer. And so I've got kids right now that are currently reading 8 different scripts. I'll probably get them 2 to 4 more by the end of the summer for them to repeat. And then we all gather together and discuss what's great about this script, what's hard about this script. Would it make a great one night play? Would it not make a great one night play? Who could be cast in it? Kind of that whole thing gives them ownership.
Yeah.
And so whenever I have the kids apply to be in the one act committee, I always put at the end, like, I understand if they have to sign off on 3 statements. Like, one is I understand that by volunteering to be on this committee, I have to commit to reading these scripts over the summer. And I understand that by volunteering to be on this committee, I will be at the committee meeting in August where we discuss all the scripts. And then I understand that just because I'm on this committee doesn't mean that I'll be cast in the one night cup. And then the last one says, to prove to Mr. Wiesner that I have read all of these and didn't just click yes on all of them, I must now go find him and say the following. And then every year I take my like most unhinged opinions and make them say it to me. So like one year it was like Cowboy Carter is the best country western album ever made. But one year it was like cane sauce is trash and the best place to put it is in the trash can.
Oh
And
my goodness.
I know it's crazy, right? One of them was like Whataburger is way better than In-N-Out. One of them was like Beyonce is far superior to Taylor Swift. And there was just like so many. Then they come to me and are like, I'm here to tell you, oh, Les Mis is the worst musical that's ever been created. Because I hate Les Mis. So, I make them come say those things to me. And it's just so fun to see their face as they're like, Taylor Swift is not as good as Beyonce. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're correct. This year's was Tom Holland is the far superior actor to Timothée Chalamet.
Agreed.
So I put that one out there.
I have a funny Les Mis story.
Go for it.
So on my honeymoon, we went and saw Les Mis at the West End. And during Act 2, I was apparently crying so viscerally that the ushers brought me napkins. I was in the middle of the row. They climbed over people to bring me tissues.
That's
Never in my, 25 years of going to the theater have I seen an usher bring somebody tissues. I got tissues brought to me at the West End as Les Mis.
You know what? We should like just take a moment to say thank you to the incredible ushers
Ugh.
in our theaters because I had been to so many shows that were made because of the experience that the ushers created.
And so many that were ruined.
Yeah. Oh, yes. 100%. But we just got back from New York, a couple of my buddies and I think we were seeing Chess, the musical, which I'm now obsessed with. Oh, love it. So we were seeing Chess, and the usher, while we were getting seated, was just like, "All right, everybody, we're gonna have a little like lesson time." And he was like, "Today at intermission, you're all gonna want to go to the potty. So here's what you need to know. Right here, these stairs in front of me lead directly to the women's bathroom, and those stairs right on the other side of the balcony lead straight down to the men's bathroom. Now let's do a quiz. Where is the ladies' bathroom? Where is the men's?" Like, thank you so much. Like, it was just so much fun the way he did. Yeah. And then intermission came, and sure enough, like we jump up to go to the bathroom, and people are like, "I don't know where we're supposed to go. Do you know where the ladies' room?" I'm like, "Oh, ladies is over there, men's is over here." Like, sorry that your usher didn't give you a quiz because ours was amazing. So I just love that people are happy with their job, you know?
Yes, and engaging with the people reminds me of good flight attendants that make a little show out of their, spiel.
Absolutely.
I'd rather watch that than
Yes.
you do the thing and move on with
Yeah.
a frown on your face.
Yeah. And it was also a chest that we were like getting there, and Leah Michelle had to call out at the last minute because from what I understand,
She had to read a book?
I think your son, well, yeah, I should read it, but yes, she was struggling. I think her son's preschool graduation was that day, and it ran long, and then she got caught in traffic and she wasn't going to make it back in time. And they waited until the very last minute to make that call. And so as we're in line, they came out and they're like, "There will be no Leah Michelle at the show today." And people were so frustrated, and I get that because, like me, I'm not
Yeah.
from New York, so I was like, I really was wanting to see her. But immediately there was this usher who was directing us to go in, which was like, "No Leah Michelle today, but her understudy is phenomenal. You guys are in for such a treat because her understudy will just absolutely knock your socks off. Like, you guys are so lucky you're gonna get to see her." Like, she just turned it into this positive moment that everyone was like so frustrated, and I was like, "Good for you. Thank you for helping make that a better situation."
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Thank you to the usher if you're here.
absolutely. Yes.
Well, I believe that you've prepared something for your students.
Yeah. Okay. So I wrote this letter to my kids. So here we go. To my students, I don't quite know where to begin. There is so much that I want to say. I guess I will start with this. I want you to know that I have sat in your shoes. The ones full of exhaustion from running from class to class, meeting to meeting, and rehearsal to rehearsal. The shoes tied tight as you prepare for an audition, filled with hope and nerves, and the ones that you kick off at the door, either in excitement or disappointment when the cast list is posted. I have worn the shoes that you wear as you leave home, knowing that it will be at least 12 hours before you return to take them off, but also the shoes that you tie with a smile, knowing that for a little while today you get to be in your happy place, even when your happy place is very stressful and exhausting. I have worn the shoes you're wearing as you learn that your friend has betrayed you. I've worn the shoes that you wear as you fight with your parents. I've worn the shoes that you wear as you fall in love for the first time, and the ones that you wear as your heart gets broken. I have worn the shoes that you wear as you experience success and joy, and the shoes that you wear as you experience defeat and loss. And all of this is fairly ironic since one of my defining characteristics is my refusal to wear anything but sandals. I guess what I really want you to know is that I see you. I see the incredible person that you are, the little idiosyncrasies that make you, you, the things that others may count as flaws or faults in your character. I understand where they come from and how they can be harnessed and help to make you even more incredible than you already are. I see how hard you are at working and the effort that you put in. I see how you set a goal and then that you do everything that you can to achieve it. I see your excitement when things go your way and your heartbreak when they don't. You should also know that I hear you. If only you could know how much I hear when I'm working at my desk. The conversations you have while you're eating lunch in my room, the whispers in the back of the auditorium during rehearsal, even the things that you assume I don't hear while you're trying to talk to me and I am in the middle of doing an email or some paperwork, I hear it. I would wager I hear nearly all of it. But I also hear the things that you say without using words. Sometimes I call them people noises whenever I'm directing you on stage. I hear those too. I hear your sighs as your confidence starts to dwindle. I hear your yawns as exhaustion sets in. I hear the lightness of your steps when you are overjoyed and the heaviness of them whenever you are at a breaking point. I hear your increased tempo and changed pitch as your frustration with others or yourself builds to a climax. I hear the subtext under the polite responses that you have been trained to give, and I hear how sometimes you don't feel like you are heard. But here's the thing, I also feel with you. I feel your joy and excitement, There's nothing better than those moments. They are what I live for as a teacher, to see your success and to get to experience a small part of it with you. But perhaps the hardest part of being a teacher is feeling your disappointments right alongside you. Disappointments with friends and family, with classes and grades, with yourself, and with me. That one hurts. When you see the season of shows announced and your friends are all celebrating the lineup, but you're disappointed because your dream show is not there, I feel that. When you see the company list go up and you didn't land the part that you wanted, I feel that. I had been there and it sucks. I have been tasked with an impossible job that requires me to make the best decision for the most people. And while I know that that is the task, it doesn't make the fact that someone will be heartbroken by the decision that I make any less heartbreaking for me. I feel you. I have been you, and in a lot of ways, I am still you. That is why it is so important for you to hear me say this. When I say I love you, I mean that with every fiber of my being. When we share joy, I love you. When we share pain, I love you. When you're hurt and frustrated and let down, I love you. You, not your talent or intelligence or your work ethic, just the amazing, incredible you. I truly believe that teaching is a calling and that whatever higher power you believe in chooses us to be teachers. But more importantly, that higher power has chosen each of you to enter my life and change it, always for the better, even when I can't see it in the moment. So let me wrap this up. I have been in your shoes, even if I wear flip flops all the time. I see you, I hear you, I feel you, and because of that, I believe in you and your ability to take the things that make you unique and special and share them with the world. In musical theater, we say that you speak until words are not enough and then you sing. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing right now, although that is on brand for me. But I will quote a song. It's one that I used to sing to my two boys as I rocked them to sleep when they were younger. When you cry, be sure to dry your eyes, because better days are sure to come. And when you smile, be sure you smile wide, and don't let them know that they have won. And when you walk, walk with pride. Don't show the hurt inside, because the pain will soon be gone. And when you dream, dream big. When you laugh, be sure to laugh out loud, because it will carry all your cares away. And when you see the beauty all around and in yourself, and it will help you feel okay. And when you pray, pray for strength to help you carry on when the troubles come your way. And when you dream, dream big as the ocean blue, because when you dream, it might come true. So when you dream, dream big. I just want you guys to know that I love you with my whole heart until the very end. Love you.
Thank you so much, Drew, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Abs, thanks for having me. It's been an honor.
Of course, of course. Well, this has been the Unauthorized Teacher Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to give us a follow on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram. It's all at the Unauthorized Teacher Podcast with no spaces. And be sure to tell all your friends about this podcast. It is awesome. Thank you.